We're still getting ready. We haven't even started yet. But that's good. We got to think about all these things. Next thing we need to think about is the M word, right? You cannot toilet train unless you have strong incentives that go beyond praise. Of course, you're going to praise the person whenever he or she pees in the toilet. Effusively, enthusiastically, right? You're going to jump up and down like a, right? I mean, you're going to go bananas when he or she pees in the toilet. But that's not enough, because many times during the day, this person ought to be hearing praise for various things that he or she does. So praise is motivating, but it's not motivating enough. You have to have stuff. Stuff. Stuff means food, drinks, activities, toys, leisure items, stuff that you can make contingent. That means they're delivered right after the person pees in the toilet, right? So, and highly motivating stuff. Stuff that the person doesn't get at any other time, right? So if you're going to use food, you're going to pick food items that the person never has access to except if he or she pees in the toilet now. Chocolate chips, too bad, so sad, no chocolate chips unless you pee in the toilet. You don't say that to the person, right? But now that's the rule, right? I worked with someone about 6 months ago who was, this is an adolescent, his favorite thing in the whole wide world was bacon. Well, actually, how many of you, your favorite thing in the whole wide world is bacon, right? He didn't care, hot, cold, just so it was crisp. Crisp, cold chunks of bacon. Ooh, you just want to eat it, right? Too bad, so sad, no more bacon unless he peed in the toilet. He was trained in 2 weeks. Right? Because bacon, little pieces of cold bacon, cold crisp bacon, were in a Tupperware container in the bathroom, and whenever he peed in the toilet, he got bacon. I don't care if this goes down well with you or not. If you want to train the kid, you've got to have strong incentives. So if you're one of these, well, I don't believe in tangible reinforcers, get over it. I'm really serious. Get over it. Because you have to have tangible reinforcers here. You're trying to motivate this kid to release that urethra at exactly the right point in time and to figure this out without you being able to explain it to him. He's got to feel the feeling in his bladder. He's got to feel the feeling in that urethra. He's got to know when to release it. This requires motivation. Right? So if it's food, if it's drink, if it's preferred toys or leisure items, sometimes you really have to think outside of the box around this, right? People say to me all the time, well, I'm working with someone, or my son or daughter isn't wild for anything. First of all, I don't want it to be one thing, because if it's only one thing, he'll get tired of it. He'll get tired of it. So you need an array of food, drink, motivating items, right? I love it. I love to say to people, go get a little muffin tin, right? Get a muffin tin, and in each compartment of the muffin tin, put, a little bacon here, a little granola there, some chocolate chips here, some, whatever his favorite foods are that he's never going to get any other time during the day. And then when he pees in the toilet, offer him the tin and let him decide what he wants as a reward for peeing in the toilet this time. That way you don't ever have to guess what he's keen for. Does that make sense? Right? If it's toys, have an array of toys. Have a grab bag of toys. Have a grab bag of leisure items that he can pick from. Right? And sometimes you really have to think outside of the box. So let me give you 3 of my favorite examples. These pictures remind me to give you these examples. So this is one. This reminds me to tell you the Nemo story. So I worked with a family a while back, and that was the story. Is he doesn't really like anything except Nemo, right? But like every time he sits on the toilet, you can't let him watch the whole Nemo movie, right? Like a 2-hour reinforcer for a pee in the toilet isn't going to work. And this was a kid who, if you only let him watch a little bit of Nemo, would get really ticked off because he wanted to watch the whole thing, right? And he had like Nemo dolls, Nemo this, Nemo that. It wasn't, it was the Nemo movie, right? And I said, well, what if you edited like 1 minute or 2 minute clips, and he could play the 1 minute or 2 minute clips on the iPad or on the, you know, oh no, he'd want the whole movie. We'd have a temper tantrum now. So like we really had to think about this, right? I'm kind of trying to work with the parents around this, and I couldn't think of anything, and we decided we'd think about it separately for a while. And I got a phone call a couple days later from Mom, and she said, I think I have an idea. Do you think that this will work? She said, my sister does a really good Nemo impression. So what if whenever he peed in the toilet, we called my sister and she pretended to be Nemo. And I said, you know, try it. Kid was trained in 2 weeks, right? So he'd pee, they'd dial, right? There were 2 phones. There was a cell phone and the landline. The sister mostly used the cell phone. Right, so they dialed the landline because no one ever called her on the landline, and she had call waiting so she'd know it was them, right? Not some like surveyor. I mean, can you imagine saying to a surveyor, hello, this is Nemo? No. So she'd pick up the phone, she'd say, hello, this is Nemo, and then the kid who could talk would say, I peed in the toilet, Nemo. Oh, you peed in the toilet. Oh, I'm so proud of you. Oh. Right? That's what I mean. Think outside the box, right? That's the Nemo story. This one is a kid that I worked with, oh my God, I can't even begin to tell you how many years ago now. 12-year-old, not trained, young man had autism, significant impairment with autism, didn't speak, you know, very challenging young man. And we were at the end of our ropes. We couldn't find anything that was, I mean, we were training him with food, with this, but it wasn't working. And we knew it was the reinforcer. We knew we didn't have a strong enough reinforcer. I worked in a residential facility at that point in time. This is many years ago. And he lived there. And I came in one morning and the night staff person, the evening person, had written in the book, please someone go to London Drugs and buy a new hairdryer. Make sure it's the most powerful hairdryer you can find. The hairdryer broke last night. And I'm reading this going, why is this and it would say, urgent, buy the hairdryer, right? I'm like, okay. So I said to her, like, well, what, your hair, what's the problem? She said, well, this kid, let's call him Andy. She said, oh, but she said, Andy was so upset last night because after his bath, his favorite thing to do is, after we dry his hair, he takes the hairdryer and he lets the warm air on his face. He just loves, he gets this blissful expression and he just loves it. And the hairdryer broke and he was so upset last night because he couldn't like dry his face. I'm like, do you understand that we've been trying to toilet train him for 3 weeks now and we're looking desperately for a reinforcer? She said, yeah. I said, why have you not come forward with this information before? Well, I guess I didn't think that this could be. So we went out, we bought like a 18,000 volt hairdryer that was like, whoosh, you know, right? It's like a jet engine on your face, right? And no more after the bath, Andy. If you pee in the toilet, you get to, trained in 3 weeks, right? Because now whenever he peed in the toilet, he got to bliss out by shooting the very, very warm air on his face. Go figure. I don't understand these things. Right? I don't understand these things, but that's a true story. So is this. In that same place, that same residential place, I work with another kid, let's call him Rodney, my favorite kid in the whole wide world, and he lived there as well. And one of the other staff who was a whole lot of fun, and I, one night, after we did the dishes, and there was this Playtex living glove, and my friend staff, you know, blew up the glove. So now it's this big glove balloon, right? And we started chasing the kids around, you know, right? Playing, I'm gonna get you with this glove. which turned into a game that was called the glove treatment, right? And this Rodney would say, well, I want to play the glove treatment. And we'd blow up a glove and we'd chase him around the house and bop him over the head with this blown up Playtex living glove. I'm serious, right? Well, then it was time to toilet train him. Guess what? Every time he peed in the toilet, we got to play the glove treatment, hit him over the head with the blown up Playtex living glove. Yeah, again, trained in 3 weeks. Right? Couldn't find a reinforcer, right? What can I tell you? Sometimes you really need to think outside the box. You need to make up reinforcers. You need to make up things that are going to be so much fun, so motivating, so fun that, that he's going to pay attention to that little teeny muscle at the end of the bladder and figure out when to release it and how to do that. So, toilet training should be fun for the kid. Right? On some level, it should be fun for the kid. It's work for you, fun for him. Okay? And you've got to find strong motivators. You've just got to. And if you don't have that, you don't have anything. So don't start till you've got at least one, if not an array of options that you're prepared to offer when peeing in the toilet or pooing in the toilet occurs and at no other time. Right? If possible, have these items available in the bathroom. We had the Playtex living glove and the hairdryer in the bathroom. So the minute the peeing was done, we could turn on the hairdryer and Andy could have a couple minutes of bliss. Or Rodney could have a couple minutes of the glove treatment. Thank God it was harmless, right? Put food in a plastic baggie or a Tupperware container. If it's drink, put it in a thermos, have it in the bathroom, right? Obviously, this can't be something where you have to go to the store and buy it. It has to be available right then and right there, right? And for a time-limited amount of time. So if it is a movie, you can't be showing a 2-hour movie every time he pees in the toilet. You've got to have clips or whatever. And of course, you're always going to use verbal praise as well. Oh, wow, good for you. Wow, look what you did, blah, 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 blah. You want to be excited and enthusiastic and positive. But as I said, kids should be hearing that, dozens of times during the day. So it's not so special anymore, just the praise. It's not so special. And we need to special up the motivation here. So that's a piece that I can't emphasize enough. If there's one reason that it's not going to work for you, it's going to be this. And if you've got a reinforcer and it's working for a while and then all of a sudden things go off the rail, that's a signal that he's tired of that, whatever it was. So go find more. That's why, see if you can find a few in the beginning and then let him choose, right? Get innovative, get creative. Okay, we're still getting ready. He has to be comfortable on the toilet. I'm all for toilets. I don't like potties. Train him on the potty, you eventually got to get him on the toilet. I'd rather just put him on the toilet and then avoid the second step, right? There's nothing magic about a potty. But the toilet at least has to be comfortable. We also need to make the decision for boys, for males, whether we're going to train standing or sitting. My preference is sitting, and I'll tell you why. When you're sitting, there's a reasonable chance that poo training will happen at the same time. If you're standing, well, that the same chance could occur, but now it's happened in the wrong place, right? So my preference is to train males sitting until they're really trained, and then if it's important to the family, we can say to them, okay, we know you have the mechanics of the muscle control. Now we're just going to stand you up to do part of it and sit you down to do the other part, right? So rather than train standing from the beginning, train sitting for both. And then the other thing, if I may say so, about the standing thing is, the sitting thing, is that, when males are older and are in public washrooms on their own, if they're doing everything sitting, that means that they're in a stall with the door closed and they're private and they're safer than if they're standing. So for some young men, my preference is, and possibly I could talk you into this, just keep them sitting, because that allows for greater independence down the road, potentially, right? And nobody's going to go like, you know, why is he peeing in the stall? No one cares. Okay, so, but you do need to think about that. And that's a family decision. If the family feels very strongly that they want their young boy, their young son trained standing, we can do it. It's just more convenient if it's all sitting from the beginning. And then we need to figure out about proper seating, right? So if it's a young child and you're not going to use a potty, you need to have a stool there so his or her feet are supported. You need to have an insert on the toilet of some sort, so that, I mean, what you don't want is a little kid on the toilet doing this, trying to stay balanced, right? He has to sit there comfortably with his feet supported so that he absolutely can relax those muscles. There's nothing preventing relaxation from occurring. And if he's having to balance or his feet are dangling, he can't completely relax, right? So you've got to find that, right? If this is a person with, you know, some kind of physical impairment, cerebral palsy, a motor impairment that renders him or her unstable, you might actually have to get special seating, work with the occupational therapist to get a special seat built on, or a portable seat that's available on the toilet, so that he's got back support and arm support and all of that. Right, again, it really depends upon what the motor situation is for the person, but you want him to be able to sit unassisted as much as possible and very, very comfortably on the toilet, right? If he's going to be sitting there for long periods of time, if you're doing Katie's method this afternoon, you might want to get something that, you know, a blow-up seat that fits on the toilet so it's nice and soft and cushy. You can buy toilet seats that sing Old MacDonald Had a Farm. You can buy SpongeBob seats and Dora and, you know, Thomas the Tank Engine. I mean, right? I'll show you some websites later on. You can buy whatever. And sometimes you need to build some incentive into the toilet seating, right? You know, let's go sit on SpongeBob now. You know, whatever. Kids got to be comfortable, well supported, blah, blah, blah. If the person has little or no speech, we need to think down the road about communication related to the toilet. I mean, when people are at home, they tend to not ask each other for permission, right? I doubt very much that y'all do that at home, in your homes. You don't turn to your spouse and go, honey, I need to go to the bathroom now. You just go. Right? You don't want your kid doing that. But at school, he needs to ask permission to go. So in some places, you do have to ask for permission, which means that you have to have a way of doing it, right? So you want to build in some kind of communication technique for kids who don't speak from the outset, whether it's a picture or a symbol or a sign. This is the sign for toilet. This is the sign for bathroom. You know, some kind of that he starts to associate with, if this is what I want, I can give this to somebody and they'll give me permission to go. So build that in the beginning rather than as an afterthought, right? If in fact he can speak, then you need to always be modeling to him what it is that he should say. Should he say pee? Should he say bathroom? Should he say toilet? Should he say, I want to go to the bathroom? I mean, what is it that he's capable of and you want him to say, to ask for permission when permission is. If he's being trained at home, you don't want to teach permission. Because at home, there is no permission. You just go when you want to, right? But if you're training at school, permission needs to be built in. If you train permission at home, you've got now, you know, a 19-year-old who every time he wants to pee, asks his mother if it's okay if he does that. You don't want that. You want him to just go. Does that make sense? So